Alrighty, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 1.2, and that will be adding and subtracting with whole numbers. All right. So the first type of problems you're going to be seeing is simply adding. Just so you know, we don't get a calculator in the first two chapters, so we have to be able to do this by hand. I will allow a calculator once we get past the first test, though. So we have something along the lines. We'll say, hey, add this right here. That's going to say 461 plus 228. And what you do is you add from the right and then go left. So I'm going to go 1 plus 8 gives me 9. 6 plus 2 gives me 8. And 4 plus 2 gives me 6. What I did is I added my ones first, then my tens, then my hundreds, and then I got my answer. Let's try another one. We're going to add 463 plus 38. The way this works is I go 3 plus 8 gives me 11. Now, I'm not going to write 11 here. That just means I have 11 ones. So I'll drop the one of the ones, and then that other one becomes 10. So what this basically means is 3 plus 8 gives me 11, which is the same thing as 10 plus 1. This one right here dropped here, but this tens goes to the tens place, but it's just 1 10 that I'm carrying over. So then I go 6 plus 3 is 9, plus the one I carried over, and that gives me 10. Again, that is not going to be 10 that I write. I put the 0 here, and then I carry over the 1 here. And then I go 1 plus 4 gives me 5. So I added my ones. Anything that went into 2 digits, the second digit went over here. Added the tens and went to 2 digits again, so it moved over, and then I added the hundreds, and then you keep that process going. So I'm left with 501. Let's try another one. It's going to have you add 63 plus 75 plus 47. Again, I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to add all my ones. 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. So I drop down my 5, and the 1 goes here. So I drop down the ones place, and the tens place goes in the tens. And then I go through the same process. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 4 is 18. So I write the 8. The issue is when I carry over the 1, there's nothing there in the hundreds place, so the 1 comes down. So it makes it out to be like I just wrote the 18 because there's nothing else for it to carry over to. All right. So that's the first part of the homework. And then it's going to get into some word problems. And this one here, it says Deidre bought a couch for $715, a coffee table for $199, and a washer and dryer for $863. And it's going to want to know what total amount did she spend? All right, so in this situation, you're just going to take all the totals in the word problem and you're just going to add them up. I'm going to take the 715, the 199, and the 863. And then I'm going to add them just like I did on the first three questions. So the only difference with the word prompts, you have to take everything out of the word prompt, set it up, and then you're doing the same process. So 5 plus 9 is 14. 14 plus 3 is 17. The 7 drops down. It's in the ones place. And then that 1 carries over into the tens. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. Again, the sevens would fall and the 1 would carry over. Then I go 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. So the 7 falls down and I carry over the 1, but then there's nothing for it to add. So I get $1,777. That's my grand total. Right? So not so bad. There is some definitions that you're going to need to know, and these are called the properties of addition. We have the commutative property. And basically what it means is 3 plus 14 equals 17, and 14 plus 3 equals 17. So the community property basically just states it does not matter the order that you added them, it still gives you the same total. So I went 3 plus 14, got 17, or I can do 14 plus 3. All right, the next one you have to know is the associative property. This one's all about grouping. So I could have 8 plus 12 in parentheses, then add the 7. So what that would give me, 8 plus 12 is 20. Then when I add the 7, I get 27. Well, it doesn't matter where I put those parentheses because I can go 8 plus parentheses 12 plus 7, which then tells me to add 12 plus 7 first. That becomes 8 plus 19. But that still gives me 27. So basically what this means is the grouping or the parentheses does not matter where I put it. I will still get the same outcome. So what you're going to be asked to do is they're going to give you something like this and they're going to ask you state the property. They'll have 9 plus 1 in parentheses plus 7 equals 9 plus 1 plus 7. You have to realize it's like like game in the magazine where you have one side over here, one side over here. Can you tell me what the difference is? And hopefully you're saying, well, the parentheses are around different groups of numbers. This was around 9 and 1. This is now around 1 and 7. So if you identify that, you can see that what they're around, you can go, all right, well, the answer here would be associative. All right, next question. It will say 25 plus 4 equals 4 plus 25. So again, I look at the left side, look at the right side, and I say, hey, these two guys switched on me, which then tells me the order doesn't matter. I'm going to get the same answer. So therefore, this would be commutative. Now, I did forget one rule. So here's 1, here's 2. Let me add this rule here. This rule is called the identity property. And the reason it's called identity property, because when I add 0 to a number, it gives me the original number. So when I have a +0, I have the identity. So when I give you something like this, and I say, hey, what's 39 plus 0? That gives me 39. The fact that it has that +0 tells you, oh, that is the identity. Basically meaning you end it with what you started. Mm-hmm. And then there's going to be a couple more word problems. You'll see one that's going to ask you to calculate the perimeter. And perimeter basically means you just add up all the sides of the figure. So if I have a figure, it looks something like this. I got 15 yards, 6 yards, 16 yards, 8 yards, and 13 yards. All I got to do is just add them. So I'm going to do 15, 6, 16, 8, and 13. The order of what you write them does not matter as long as you list them all correctly. And I'm going to add the ones. So 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 plus 8 is 25. 25 plus 3 is 28. So I'm going to write the 8 here, carry over the 2, because that's what's in the tens place. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So that would give me 58. And because this is a word problem, you just need to put the units that you are dealing with. All right, let's look at another type of word problem that you would see. All right, this one says that Nina is weatherproofing her house for winter and wants to install insulation strips around a door frame. The door measures 80 inches high by 36 inches wide. And then it's going to ask how many inches of weather stripping will she need? So in this situation, it's best to draw it out. So here's a door frame. And she said that she is weatherproofing her house for winter and wants to install insulation strips around a door frame. The door measures 80 inches high by 36 inches wide. And it's just simply going to ask you, how much do you need? Well, what you need to know with the door, if this side is 80, this side is 80, and if this side is 36 inches wide, this will be 36 inches wide. Now you know all the sides, so now you're calculating the perimeter. So this becomes 80 plus 36 plus 80 plus 36. And 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So I write the 2, carry over the 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 8 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23. So I write the 3, put the 2, but there's nothing for it to go. So that becomes 232. And it was inches. So I just need to write the inches abbreviation. Right, and then that's pretty much for addition. Let's talk about subtraction. So when asked to subtract, you're going to get questions like this. 15 minus 6. So you can see this as 15 take away 6. So if you have $15, you take away 6, you have $9 back. You could have something like this, 11 minus 7. If you have $11 and you charge or pay $7, you'll have $4 left. And you can see ones like this, where 7 minus 1. So you have $7, take away $1, I now have $6. Those are the basic ones. Those you should be able to do pretty quickly, but it's going to get a little bit more complicated. So let's look at one of those. It's going to ask you to subtract 65 minus 21. We're still going to start with the ones and then move on. So this becomes 5 minus 1 is 4. And then 6 minus 2 is 4. So the answer here is 44. So again, I still went with the ones, then I went with the tens. So now we try a little bit harder. We're going to subtract. We'll take 341 minus 187. But notice here, I cannot take 1 minus 7. When this happens, we have this thing called borrowing. So I'm going to borrow from the tens place. When I do that, the 4 goes down by 1 to a 3. When I do that, I carry over that missing 1 over here. So instead of it being 1 minus 7, it's now 11 minus 7, which we saw earlier was 4. But then I end up in the same situation. 3 minus 8 can't be done, so I have to borrow. So this 3 becomes a 2. I carry over that 1 in front of the 3, and now that becomes 13. So now 13 minus 8 gives me 5. Then I can continue on, and now I can do the hundredths place, and this is 2 minus 1, which can be done, and that gives me 1. So then I'll try another one. So let's subtract 700 minus 42. So I can't do 0 minus 2, so I would borrow, but I can't borrow from nothing, so I have to borrow from the next one. So this 7 will become a 6, carry over the 1, but I still have to borrow over here. So this 10, I'm going to borrow as well. So that 10 now becomes a 9, and I can carry the 1 over here. So now this becomes 10 minus 2, which is 8. 9 minus 4, which is 5. And then 6 has nothing to subtract from, so there's like an imaginary 0. So 6 minus nothing is still going to be 6. And then, of course, just like addition, there's going to be a few word problems. So let's look at them. This one's going to say, what number should be what number should be 268 to get a sum of 654. So basically what this is asking is just saying, hey, what do I need to add this to get to this? And when it does that, you just take that big number there of 654, subtract it from the 268 that you have. So you started with this, you want this, you need to take it away from what you want to figure out what you still need. So I basically just set up the problems we were just doing. So again, 4 minus 8 can't be done, so I'm going to borrow. That 5 becomes a 4, the 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 8 gives me 6. Then I do 4 minus 6, can't be done, so I have to borrow. Bring over the 1. 14 minus 6 now becomes 8. 5 minus 2 becomes 3. So I need 386 to be able to add the 268 to give me the 654. All right, the next type of problem you could get, the cost of repairing Robert's used DVD player will be $165 to buy a new DVD player. Robert will have to pay $129. How much more would it cost to fix the old DVD player than to buy one? So again, basically the cost of repairing Robert's used DVD player is $165. To buy a new one, it'll be $129. So how much more would it cost to fix rather than just buy one? So again, you're just going to take the bigger value here, and you're going to subtract it from the smaller value to figure out what the difference is. So 5 minus 9 cannot be done, so I have to borrow, turn that into a 5, turn that into a 15. 15 minus 9 gives me 6. 5 minus 2 gives me 3. 1 minus 1 gives me 0, so I have nothing in the hundredths place. So the difference is $36 to just go ahead and buy a new one. All right, last question that you will see says, in pricing a new motorcycle, Alex found that he would have to pay a base price of $10,470 plus 630 in taxes and $70 for the license fee. If the bank loaned him $7,530, how much cash would Alex need to buy the motorcycle. So this is a combination question because what you have to do first is you're going to need to add the total of the bike, the value for the taxes, and the value for the license. So I'm going to have to take the 10,470 plus the 630 plus the 70. Add up all my zeros, it's 0. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. So I drop down the 7, carry over the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. So drop the 1, carry over the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. So there's the comma, and then just drop down the 1. So the grand total is 11,170, but the bank is only giving him 7,530. So we then take that grand total, and then I now have to subtract what the bank is willing to give. 0 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. 1 minus 5 cannot be done, so I have to borrow. So 11 minus 5 is 6. 0 minus 7 can't be done, so I have to borrow. So 10 minus 7 gives me 3, and then there's no longer anything in the 10,000 spot. So the correct answer, even though this was part of the work, this is the final answer, that he still has to come up with $3,640 to buy the motorcycle. All right, that pretty much concludes this section. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and let me know. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.